Hey, welcome to Survey of Programming Languages. So this will be probably a series of a couple videos, but this is the first video. And what I wanted to do was talk about top programming languages, why they're important, why they're not important. We will not cover all these languages in this video, but first initially is JavaScript. At this point, you've had an introduction to programming class, you've had advanced programming class. And both of these courses cover jQuery, JavaScript, so you understand the importance of JavaScript. It's a high-level programming language that is used more, is identified in more companies now than like early on when JavaScript was introduced. Early on when HTML was becoming a thing that was something new in the late 90s, early 2000s. JavaScript was being used widely, but not as popular as it is today. We have so many different technologies that are available today. We have ways that you could create applications, like mobile apps has really taken off. At one point in time, JavaScript was used just across the board, just on desktop applications, online, etc. But now they have it to a point where JavaScript can be used as a desktop application, not just online. It can run its own host. You could also utilize JavaScript as a web app. Who knew that you could use some type of framework of JavaScript, so like an extension of JavaScript, to allow you to be able to develop your own mobile application. And we'll talk about that later on in upcoming modules of this course, and we'll kind of get into that aspect of JavaScript itself. But JavaScript itself, what are some of the requirements that you need, skills needed, HTML and CSS, so cascading style sheets. CSS could be, to me, it could be not a must if you're just kind of learning JavaScript. If you have HTML or some type of background in HTML, I think that, to me, is good enough to really get started. But if you really want to do some cool stuff, then definitely have CSS as your background. And so it's cross-platform, as I mentioned, desktop, mobile, web. Popularity among programmers, it's probably one of the more popular languages used. I won't say the most, because that varies based off of who is the who is the developer. But it just depends. So anyway, some of the benefits of JavaScript is it's easy to learn and implement. What's nice is no matter if you're coming from a background in, so for example, my background initially was start off in Visual Basic. So early on, before I even got into industry, I learned Visual Basic. I had a Microsoft computer. So personally, I went toward the direction of ASP and then ASP.NET because it was what I was familiar with. And some people had started off like that. I know people that start off with C and move their way into Java and so forth. So we all start off at a certain point, and just understanding the fundamentals of software development or how to write code, it's very very unique. So it makes it, I won't say unique, sorry, it's a bad way of describing it, but the benefits is you can write some code, and it allows you to kind of pick up on how things are written. So in my aspect, so benefits, easy to learn. I'll just put that here. Oops. Let's see here. There we go. Not perfect. Easy to learn. Another thing is used everywhere on the web. What else? Can run within client browsers. What else? Reduces the demand on the web server. So it does handle a lot of stuff on the front end where it doesn't have to make callbacks to the web server. So you could go out to the web server, grab a bunch of information, take it back, store it into, say, like in one of your data structures that you learn. It could be an array, and store it in an array, and then compile there and then kind of push it out. So, you know, it's nice and it's a definite benefit. So I'll put that there. So, oops, I did put that. Some of the downsides of it, I would say downsides could be, sometimes it could be interpreted differently by different browsers. So for example, cross-browser code. So for example, if you could say Firefox, Chrome, Edge, I think DuckDuckGo has one now. So you take all these different browsers and you're in Safari, so, and believe it or not, Internet Explorer, I think still there somewhere. These are all, probably the most popular one is Chrome and followed by Firefox. But a lot of times I find myself having difficulties where Chrome takes up so much memory and so much resources where sometimes I just get rid of Chrome. I'm using Chrome as I speak. I love using Chrome, but it causes a lot of downfalls. So a lot of times I go back to Firefox where it works a little bit differently. So that could be a downside. So annual salary projection of this language, and I think it's important to discuss like the type of money that you can make. You can make up to $111,000, $112,000 a year as a JavaScript developer, but that comes with experience as well. So I tell students a lot of times, you're just not going to graduate college and get that $100,000 job. None of us did. Me coming up, you know, people coming out of school in the late 90s, early 2000s, the average salary for a software developer was $33,000 to $35,000 a year. So nowadays, students do not want to hear that. I think it's around 60, 65, which is a pretty good competitive salary to come out of college and start making some good money. But as I know, and any developer can tell you this, with some experience, you know, that salary will increase, but, you know, it comes with all the sweat and work that you put into that effort. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. This is video number 1. The other videos we'll talk about Python, we'll talk about Go, which is written by Google, importance of that. We'll get a little into Java. So we'll only talk about a few of them this week, but this is a good way to really introduce these different languages and how they could be influential and how they could play a role in everyday's business. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.